and we'll get started sometime shortly. Hold on a sec. All right, there's Coach Adams. He is seated and ready to go. Our questioners are lined up. We'll start with Dan Raley. He'll be followed by Lauren Kirshman. Dan, go ahead.
Why can't I see myself and I can't see them? I haven't seen you guys in a while. I mean, at least I could do it.
We're not very pretty. That's the problem.
Come on now.
So Coach, with the new offense that you've put in place, are you guys more wide open, more of a 3 wide receiver group, or are you still more conventional when you line up on the field?
I look at this offense as being multiple. You know what I mean? I think when you look at good offenses, you look at a multiple personnel offense, changing in and out of personnel groupings. It starts up front as far as being physical in the run game or just being physical all the way around and being a downhill run game and being physical on the perimeter. But we're going to play our best 11 guys. And, John Donovan is doing a good job of, applying his system, implementing his system. And we like it. I mean, it's fun. The guys are having fun with it. JD's doing a good job of teaching it and installing it. And there's a good sense of energy going around it offensively right now.
All right, we'll go to Lauren Kirshman. She'll be followed by Ruth Robbins. Go ahead, Lauren.
Hey, Junior. We've heard a lot of praise from other coaches and players for the freshman wide receivers. What has your impression been of those guys?
They've been good. They work hard every day. The cool thing about, all 3 of those guys, Rome, Jalen, and Sawyer, when they got here, they got right to the playbook. The cool thing about them is that they're really good dudes. They connected with the group. The group connected with them. And, they go out and they practice hard. I mean, just like any freshman, you're going to have your ups and your downs and all that, but they keep battling. And I'm really pleased, with how they're picking up the playbook, as a freshman. And as freshmen. So, no, they're doing good. They're making plays. It's built some really good competition in that room.
All right, we'll go to Ruth Robbins. She'll be followed by Chris Fetters. Go ahead, Ruth.
Hey, Junior.
Hey, Ruth. How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, when you first got to Washington, I remember there was some discussion about really trying to make improvements in the downhill blocking.
I barely can hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you very well, Ruth. You sound like you're really far away from the microphone.
Oh, let me get in here a little closer. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I feel like you kept creeping further back, but I think I hear you a little bit better now.
Okay. So when you first got to Washington, one of the criticisms with the receivers at that time was the downhill blocking, and I remember we talked about this and that was something that you were going to work on. I just wondered after year 1 with these guys, have you seen some progression with that? Are they doing better in that regard? And are you continuing to focus on that kind of thing?
Yes. I think it's Ruth, I think it's a daily mindset. That makes sense. We're always trying to focus on that. Like today, for example, the first thing we did was hit the 2-man sled, just to kind of get that mindset going. But no, like Coach Lake says, first thing we want to be physical, and that's not just talking about up front. That's talking about on the perimeter. The physical guys are going to play, and it's a mindset, and it's a daily mindset. It's when your feet hit the ground. But it's on me as a coach to, spark that fire every day. To put an emphasis on that, and when you're blocking and you're physical in the run game, big runs come from wide receivers blocking downfield. Those are just as rewarding as catching touchdowns on the perimeter. So, just getting those guys, they bought into it. I think, you look at a guy like Terrell Bynum or Puka Nacua, and those guys bought into the run game last year, and it helped their game, and they became really good pass catchers for us, when we needed them.
All right, we'll go to Chris Fetters. He'll be followed by Nick Mendro. Go ahead, Chris.
Junior, was asking Coach Lake the other day about the running backs room and how guys have gotten bigger, and he made a comment about how there's a reason heavyweights don't fight lightweights. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering how much that might apply to the receivers room as well, because I also took a look at the receivers and the average size from last year's group to this year's, and it looks like on average you guys are a little bit bigger as well. Do you think there's some logic to that as well when you look at the receivers?
Yeah, I mean, there is some logic to that. Size, speed, and athleticism. But to me, it really comes down to the mindset. Coming out to work every day. I've seen one of the best receivers to play the game is Steve Smith. He's not very tall, but he played like he was 6'4", So it's all about, the mindset for us on the perimeter and making the difficult plays. You always say, make the highly difficult plays look easy, going up and snatching the football, going and throwing your face in there in the run game and blocking safeties. That's what we want to do, regardless of your size. But yes, I do feel like we have gotten, our size has gotten bigger. So hopefully that answers your question.
All right, we'll go to Nick from the Daily, followed by Mike Varel. Go ahead, Nick.
Ty Jones had a big impact his first 2 years, and then he kind of missed some time last year, but came on strong again at the end. How has he looked after missing some time last year, and then what does he mean to this group heading into the season?
I mean, when you look at this group, Ty is one of the leaders in that room. Ty has made a lot of plays. I do think, him being out of lineup most of the year last year has helped him. Sometimes when you when you're able to step back and see it through another lens, it helps you get better. He took a lot of mental reps. He had a good offseason. And honestly, Ty right now, he's playing good football for us, and I'm just harping on him to be consistent every day. So.
All right, we'll go to Mike Varel, followed by Masvita. Go ahead, Mike.
I think he's muted. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Hey, Junior.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good.
You mentioned Terrell Bynum, but that dude made a lot of those difficult plays last year in terms of the tight space catches, and you talked about blocking ability. He might kind of fly under the radar publicly a little bit, but what made him effective, and what are the strides that you've seen for him the last year or so?
I think what made him effective last year was he stayed the course. He was process driven. One thing about TB is he's very smart. He knows the system inside and out. And last year for us, going all the way back, I mean, if you really look at the plays he had for us early on in the season, I mean, he was just really getting his hands dirty, throwing his face in there. And as time progressed, he got his opportunity, I want to say, against, Oregon and he made a lot of big third down plays for us. And, and he's displayed that throughout the course of camp, when we get into those, finishing game situations, as, Coach Lake calls Kobe situations, being finishers. TB, he has showed up for us in those situations. And it's good because all the, he kind of, him and Ty and Jordan Chin, they kind of set the bar in that room. And, it's good for those young guys to be able to see the standard.
All right, we'll go to Masvita, followed by Anthony. Go ahead, Maz.
Yep. Hey, Coach. Just going back on the physicality of a receiver. I know we think of physicality in terms of blocking, like you talked about, but how important is it to have a receiver who makes those catches, and then also once the catch is made, to get that yak yards afterwards?
Well, I think, like I always say, I can get my daughter to catch a 5-yard hitch and fall on the ground, right? It's the one that, who's going to make the contested plays? You know what I mean? Who's going to go over the middle when it's third down and it's money down for us, or it's in the red zone and money down situation? Who's going to go make those plays? Who's going to go snatch the football? And then, like I said, I want to see guys that are going to catch the football and get me some run after the catch, and that's what, that's an emphasis this week for us. It's just catch and finish. It's just catch and finish. And so, it's something we're emphasizing here this week. Most importantly, I feel like we probably took a step back in that department, but we're making strides.
All right, we'll go to Anthony from the Daily, followed by Christian Capel. Go ahead, Anthony.
How are the guys getting comfortable with their connection with the quarterbacks? Is it hard to really adjust to a new guy, or is it just another person throwing the ball?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think we're adjusting fine. I mean, I think it's – honestly, I tell the wide receivers we play great for our quarterback. Again, we want to make the highly difficult plays look easy on a consistent basis. And whoever's back there throwing the ball, if it's coming out spiral or it's coming out wobbling, it's coming to us. We got to go make the play. And that's our job. And that's all that matters.
All right, we'll go to Christian, who'll be followed by Chris Fetters and then Kim Reynolds. Go ahead, Christian.
Hey, Junior. I'm just curious, when you first scouted Rome Odunze and saw his tape and got to know him and stuff, what stood out about him? What separated him as a prospect?
Rome, size, speed, and athleticism. And then when he did get the ball in his hands, he always made the first person miss. And then when you get to know him, he's a really good dude. He's got a big heart. He comes from a good family, a wonderful mom, and he's got a really good work ethic.
All right, we'll go to Chris Fetters, and we'll wrap things up with Kim Reynolds. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Junior, also asking about Sawyer. I know that he was probably the one guy that people haven't talked about all that much. I think probably mostly because of his injury and the thought that maybe he wouldn't play all that much this year. But when you saw him and knowing how good he was on both sides of the ball his junior season, what really stood out to you then that made you believe that offense was really going to be the side of the ball in college that was going to be the thing that made it for him, especially for you guys?
Well, I think when you get to know Sawyer, you know that he's an offensive guy just from talking to him. But, what stood out to me is that he's a good football player, and he's a proven winner. He makes tough catches. He's very smart. He's probably one of the funniest guys in that room. He's an awesome dude. I like being around Sawyer, but he was a winner in high school. You know what I mean? And he's a really good football player. And he's tough, real tough.
All right, last question for Coach Adams will come from Kim Reynolds. Go ahead, Kim.
Hey, Coach, how frustrating is it on a Saturday afternoon to see TVs on with college football going on, seeing the scores, and knowing you've still got a couple more weeks to go?
I wouldn't say it's frustrating. I like watching football, so it's fine. Well, the situation is the situation, and when it's our time, it's our time. I don't really get too caught up in being frustrated watching somebody else. If anything, I can get better watching them. So, no, I enjoy watching the games. I mean, we've been practicing on Saturday, so I haven't been able to watch too many of the games. But, before we started camp, I did enjoy watching a lot of NFL games on Sunday. I never got a chance to do that, so that was pretty good for me. And it's cool because you get to see things that you never saw, and you can learn from just watching a lot of the games. And, I don't really try to let frustration creep in my mind. I use it as a way to just get better and see what I can learn from watching other guys play.
All right, that'll wrap us up with Coach Adams. Peyton Henry will be along shortly. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you. All right, we'll get started with questions for Peyton Henry with Dan Raley. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, I can't think of too many major college football teams that have 2 scholarship place kickers on the roster. How tight is your competition? How much can it swing from day to day on who has the main duties?
We're out there competing every day, no matter what it is. Whether the kickers, the punters, the long snappers, always out there wanting to compete with each other, do the best that we can do. And within our unit, we have a pretty high standard. So competing every day, no matter what it is, what the situation is, whoever's kicking or whatnot, we just always want to come in and compete and just be the best, even in the Pac-12 and in the nation.
All right, thank you, Peyton. We'll go to Lauren Kirshman. Lauren will be followed by Christian. Go ahead, Lauren.
Hey, Peyton, how do you feel like you're different from the time that you got here until now, whether that's as a player, improvements you've made, or just how you carry yourself on the field?
Definitely. I think I've taken some steps, since I've gotten here, a lot, learned a lot of things. Definitely think the mental side of the game has, helped me, improve with my kicking, just everyday, day-to-day stuff. Just learning how to, have that mental edge every day. And then, getting in the weight room, getting stronger, more flexible, always, working on that type of stuff too. So, it's a combination of physical and mental improvement, I think.
All right, we'll go to Christian Capel. He'll be followed by Kim Reynolds. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, Peyton, I'm curious your reaction to your good buddy Jake Haener winning the starting quarterback job down in Fresno.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to hear. We've been best friends since kindergarten. He's kind of the reason I ended up at UW, and I couldn't be more happy for him. a guy who works super hard, competes, good leader. You know, I'm really happy for him. He deserves it, and I'm excited to see him ball out this Saturday.
All right, we'll go to Kim Grinolds, and then Christian has another one. Go ahead, Kim.
There we go. Sorry about that. Hey, Peyton, can you tell us a little bit about kicking in Husky Stadium? Just in the different elements, the rain, the sun, the wind, you try to draw it in, hook it in, aim for the middle all the time. Does it matter on distance? Can you just tell us a little bit about that thought process depending on conditions?
Yeah, you know, Husky Stadium could be a pretty tricky place to kick in, but, you know, you kind of learn how to deal with the wind, the rain, the cold, all that type of stuff. So, you know, you got to appreciate those warm days with no wind you get out there, or, you know, just because, you know, come game day, especially now this season, we're playing in November, December. So every game's going to be a little dog weather. So, you know, always ready for that type of stuff, and always prepared for whatever it is so we can go out and operate and execute.
Do you like to put it right down the middle, or do you play it for a little bit of a draw sometimes?
Yeah, you know, depending on, you know, what the wind is that day or the weather or whatever, we'll try to aim, you know, a certain way, whichever way the flags are going on top of the uprights, you know, try to play that. But, you know, just, you know, try to hit a straight ball every time, because if you hit a straight ball, you know, it'll cut through that wind, and it won't matter which way the wind's blowing.
All right, we'll go to Christian Capel, followed by Masvida. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that Jake was one of the first guys to get you into football. I think I've heard the story before, but I mean, was he really like the very first person who ever kind of mentioned that possibility to you?
Yeah, you know, I always kind of wanted to try, but never, you know, actually took that step. And then our freshman year, I wasn't even, you know, playing football. They already had the first game of the season. He was on JV, and their kicker missed 2 extra points, and they tied 12-12 after that. You know, he called me up, had me come out and kick in front of a couple of the coaches, and ever since then, you know, it's been kicking, you know, all that type of stuff. So, yeah, he was really the main guy that got me started.
All right, we'll go to Masvida. If anybody else has a question for Peyton, raise your hand. Please go ahead, Mas.
Hey, Peyton, I know you just talked about kicking in terms of weather elements. How and if would no crowd and then getting some crowd in there? Because, I mean, I know, you know, the mentality is to draw that out, but just how does that affect, or can that affect you?
Yeah, you know, you always want to have, you know, go into the kick, you know, blocking out the crowd noise. So even if there's no crowd, you're prepared for that. Even, you know, with our scrimmages we've had, there's been no crowd in there, obviously. But, yeah, we're just going to go in there, operate no matter what. No fans, it doesn't matter. We're going to go in there and do our job.
All right, Nick from the Daily, go ahead.
Yeah, last year you were uber consistent, and but you didn't take a field goal over 50. Can you talk a little bit about the range this year and how that's coming along?
Yeah, you know, whatever they've sent me out for, you know, I'm ready to hit. You know, it's up to them. It's not up to me. I'll go out there and, you know, whatever they ask me to do, I just hope to, you know, go out there, do my job, and that's all I can ask for, you know, is that opportunity. But, yeah, you know, just doing my job whenever it's asked. I don't care where it is. You know, I just want to get points on the board.
All right, we'll go to Chris Fetters. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Peyton, you talked about your mentality and just the growth process over the years here. Was curious when you have a situation like Oregon and it doesn't go your way, does your personality lend itself to where is it fuel for you going forward, or do you go back to the start and kind of go through the steps more mechanically? How do things like that maybe drive you or motivate you?
Yeah, no, definitely, you know, as fuel to the fire, you always want to come back, you know, come in and do your job. Definitely use that as motivation, you know, after that. And I learned from it and took the next step after that. So I think it was actually kind of a good thing that something like that happened, even if it, you know, didn't go my way. You know, I learned from it and moved forward.
All right, we'll take a question from Kim Grinolds. If no more raised hands, we'll end with that. But go ahead, Kim.
Hey, Peyton, new long snapper part of the equation. Does it make any difference?
No, not at all. We've done some good work over the summer, and, you know, this first part of fall camp. So, you know, he's the real deal. You guys will see this in a couple of weeks here. Super athletic, super consistent, super fast snap times. He'll be the real deal. You guys will see.
All right, Masvida got a question. Go ahead, Mas.
Yeah, hey, Peyton, just wondering the balance of, you know, in the weight room, your leg getting stronger, but yet trying to keep the finesse of it, that ability for you to control the ball. You know, what's the thought process when you're working out?
Yeah, you know, in the off season, you know, trying to, you know, keep adding strength, distance, flexibility, all that type of stuff. And then going into the season, just maintaining that in the weight room, not, you know, killing my legs, but still getting, a good workout in so that, my leg will stay, in shape and good to go for the whole season.
All right. Well, last question of the day will be from Dan Raley. Or last question for Peyton, that is, from Dan Raley. Go ahead, Dan.
Peyton, I was just thinking last year when you guys played California, you had a huge kick right near to the end of the game. How much did that change you, or was it just part of your routine that, you stepped up and hit it? It just seemed to me that, and I talked to some of the other legendary kickers, they thought you really built confidence with that kick against Cal last year.
Yeah, it was definitely a great start to the season. Kind of set the tone for the rest of the year, I think. And, something like that, hitting a big field goal can, add confidence, for the rest of the season. I think that definitely helped.
All right. That'll wrap it up for Peyton. Thank you for your time here today, Peyton.
All right,
We'll
thank
be
you,
back
guys.
with Terrell Bynum in just a bit. Thanks, everybody. There's Terrell. He's ready to go. So we'll start with Mike Varel, again, followed by Lauren. Go ahead with your question for Terrell. Mike Varel.
Hey, Terrell. Junior was just talking about your willingness and effectiveness as a blocker going through last season. And I'm wondering how much pride you take in a lot of that stuff that maybe doesn't show up for the typical fan, but the kind of the dirtier stuff, how much pride you take in that?
I take a lot of pride in it. Me and him have had multiple conversations, and he basically told me that'll make my career longer in the league. So I focused on it, and it helped me get on the field. So I feel like I take pride in a lot of it.
All right. We'll go to Lauren Kirshman. She'll be followed by Dan Raley. Go ahead, Lauren.
Hi, Terrell. We've heard a lot from players and coaches about the freshman wide receivers. What have you seen from those guys over this first week or so of camp?
They're dynamic and really fast, so they're going to make a lot of plays for us. And they're cool people, so it's great to be around them. And I like leading them and teaching them a lot of stuff, but they're light years where I was before I got here.
All right. We'll go to Dan Raley, followed by Christian Capel. Go ahead, Dan.
Farrell, well, I know you can't give away any secrets. A lot of people just assume with a new offensive coordinator coming in that he's been brought in to just open things up and, create a more of a passing attack. Would you say it's more wide open, or is it just the same kind of 50-50 type approach with a lot of different tweaks?
I'm not sure what we're going to do exactly. All I know is that we can do everything. We have a lot of multiple things we could pretty much do a lot of. I've talked to him about a lot of schemes, and we could pound it. We could throw it. It just comes down to what we want to do that week.
All right. Sorry about that. We'll go to Christian Capel, followed by Nick Mendro. Go ahead, Christian.
Hey, Terrell, I know you came in the same signing class as Jake Hayner, and he mentioned you guys all still kind of keep in touch on the group chat and everything. I'm just curious your reaction to seeing him get the starting job down in Fresno.
Man, that's dope. Jake is one of my closest friends. I've known him since high school, and we've talked about it. I knew he was going to get it because he's super talented, but I'm happy to finally see it because we've been grinding for a while.
All right. We'll go to Nick Mendro from the Daily, followed by Mike Varel. Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to ask about what it's been like catching passes in practice from Kevin Thompson coming in. He's an older guy, new to the program. Could you talk a little bit about that?
The old head. He's dope. Finally got to know him like as a person too. He's a lot older dude, but he knows a lot what he's doing. He knows schemes and everything really well, so he anticipates really well balls, and he has a nice ball.
All right. We'll go to Mike Varel, followed by Masvita. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Terrell, I mean, last season, it seemed like you separated yourself making a lot of those tight window catches, difficult third down catches. When it comes to that, when it comes to strong hands and concentration and all that, how do you work on that? How do you improve in that?
A lot of people think it's a hand strength, and it really is, but it's more about concentration and keeping your mind clear, I would say. Being able to really focus only on the ball, not think about getting hit or the guy around you, but if you can lift the ball all the way in, I think you have a great chance of bringing it in all the time.
All right. We'll go to Masvita. Go ahead, Mas.
Hey, Terrell, you talked a little bit about being a leader, and sometimes it's said that, you can actually learn more from teaching. Could you expand just on your leadership and what kind of leader you are, and like you said, how much you enjoy being a leader for this team?
Talking to Junior Adams and like growing as a person, I think I struggle with being a vocal leader because I was more of like I need to do stuff like and show like what I can do on the field first. But after talking to him, I realized it's not necessarily about being like a rah-rah guy, but always just rallying the troops. Like if someone's having a bad day, you could always pick them up so they have a better day. So mostly it's more about being a good friend and being a brother to them. So, some people are going to have a lot of issues off the field. So just making sure that I'm always there for them and I got their back.
All right, we'll go to Christian Capel, followed by Ruth Robbins, and then Mike Varel. Christian, go ahead, please.
Terrell, I know you'd mentioned last year that you'd watched a lot of Cooper Kupp on tape. I would imagine a lot of Junior Adams receivers probably have. I'm curious what you see from him that you really like, why his game is one that you like to study so much, and how you sort of try to apply that to your game.
What I like a lot about him is I would give you two words. He's really physical and he's really smart. He knows how to set guys up. He knows how to read coverages really well. He knows who to run the routes off of. So that makes it easier for him to run routes. He's like a step ahead of the game already. And then as far as being physical, he's not just worried about catching the ball. He's trying to score every single time. He's trying to catch difficult catches. He's trying to break the tackle and then get to the end zone every time. And I try to emulate that for sure.
All right, we'll go to Ruth, followed by Mike Farrell. Go ahead, Ruth.
Yeah, Terrell, and we did touch on this a little bit earlier, but I had talked to Junior about the downfield blocking, and he was talking about how he's really trying to get you guys to play really physical. But do you feel, just looking around you at the guys in the room with you, do you feel like this is a more physical receiver group than we've seen at Washington for a while?
I would say yes, we have it in us for sure. I mean, we just has to come out. We for sure have it in us. I've seen flashes, but we just got to be more consistent, I would say. We just have to read more into the coverages and just get our head into there because sometimes we're a little hesitant.
All right, we'll go to Mike Farrell, followed by Kim Grinolds. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Terrell, it looked like on social media and stuff this offseason that you were in tremendous shape. And I know that it looks like your weight isn't much different than it was last year, but how are you different physically than a year ago? And what have you really done this offseason?
I felt like last year I was a lot more bulky. I mean, I was bigger for sure, but now I'm more flexible, so I feel like I'm a lot faster and more agile. So I think that's the big difference that I made.
All right, we'll go to Kim Grinolds, followed by Chris Fetters, and then Lauren. Go ahead, Kim.
Hey, Terrell, you were a highly recruited guy coming out of high school. Everybody coming out of high school thinks they can come in and immediately start and make an impact. But, just redshirting that first year and then playing time gradually increasing to high expectations for you this year. Can you tell us a little bit about the journey and, some of the highs and lows of getting to this point?
Coming in, I for sure became humbled, having to go through that journey of being redshirted and not playing. But I'm appreciative of it because I had to grind for everything I got. So as far as making tough catches in practice, doing the dirty work blocking, it made me see not necessarily how it's going to be here, but like in the future as a professional level of how I would have to grind if that situation came up again, and I'm ready for it.
All right, we'll go to Chris Fetters, followed by Lauren Kirshman. Go ahead, Chris.
Terrell, you've mentioned a lot about your growth and as a leader and getting more vocal and whatnot. I was wondering how much, last year, for instance, watching guys like Aaron and Andre, how much that influenced you and how much you watched them in terms of knowing that this year you were going to be kind of taking their role.
They taught me a lot. Those guys grinded a whole bunch, and I got some good things off of them. They watched a lot of tape, and they taught me how to watch tape. So I got a lot of good habits from them. Aaron Fuller, I watched a lot of his tape too. He's another good mental guy. He knows how to set up people, that he knows how to read coverages and stuff like that. So I learned a lot from those guys.
All right, we'll go to Lauren Kirshman. No other hands are raised, so Lauren might be the last one, but go ahead, Lauren.
You mentioned that the new guys are kind of light years ahead of where you were as a freshman. What about the way that they've performed or carried themselves makes you feel that way?
I would say that they're playing a lot faster than me. I would like to say I was just as fast, but I was a lot more hesitant. But being around guys that are really smart, we're able to give them the keys, and they know the offense a lot better than I did when I first got in. So they're playing just fast. They're more thinking about the defense than the actual play on offense. So that's why I would say that they're light years ahead.
All right, Christian Capel has a question. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, when a guy who's your teammate and your friend, like Jake Hayner, makes the decision to transfer, obviously everybody who plays this game knows that guys have to do what's best for them. But what could you just kind of describe the feeling of, knowing that he's probably moving on to a better opportunity, but also that, your buddy and your teammate and everything isn't going to be, with you guys anymore?
I gave him a hard time for sure, because I was a little heartbroken. I hung out with him all the time, and he's like just a goofy dude that I loved. And him being gone, I knew it was the best opportunity for him. So, I mean, I was happy for him, but yeah, I just gave him a hard time because I wish he was here and I could hang out with him again.
All right, Terrell, thank you very much for your time today. Good job. And thanks everybody else for tuning in.
Thank
See you
you.
again tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.